It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought us to the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained by rational principles the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the powerful Kingdom of England and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and he explained it in ways that were understandable to the people, to all of the people. A great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we are able to reason, we're able to talk to each other, we're able to listen to each other, and we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it. Thank you very much for coming back, and we'll continue our interview with the McCloskeys. So now you're on the front porch. Do you remember if you went on the grass?
I do not.
Do you remember?
I don't think he did.
And then you walked back to him?
I think so.
Well, you must have.
Yeah,
I mean,
it happened.
at some point,
We weren't teleported.
At some point, the two of you were together.
Yeah.
Even before the famous scene that we all saw on television.
Yeah.
Because that is only a
Little tiny sliver
snippet
at
at the very end.
Yes.
But for some portion now, you're on the front porch together for about 4 or 5 minutes, would you say, before you got
so.
to that 32 seconds?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It seems like I think the whole event was probably 14 or 15 minutes, and there was a lengthy period of time when we were on the front porch together, and we're just kind of moving like this. I don't remember ever pointing my rifle at anybody.
Have you seen any footage of you doing that?
No, I have not. Now I have seen. Probably a fair representation of the footage shows that maybe she did.
She pointed the non-functioning gun
to people.
Which was your hope.
Yeah.
Your hope was that they thought it was the real gun.
Yes.
and that you were a brave enough lady to use it, because what woman comes out and goes on the grass right next to them?
I picked a good one. That's all I can
Oh,
say.
you sure did,
Yeah.
my friend.
Yeah.
That's a lot of courage, Patty. God, I almost feel like crying thinking about it. That's a lot of courage, my dear.
Yeah, she's shocked the hell out of me.
So now you're together. She has the non-functioning gun. You have the AK-47, which for the life of you, you don't want what?
AR-15.
AR-15.
This is an American gun made by Colt.
AR-15. Sorry. Oh my God. The AR-15. You have every desire in the world not to use it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't want to kill anybody.
But also you don't want to be killed, and you don't want your wife being killed. You want your daughter being killed, and your house burned down.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what do you continue to talk back at them at that point?
We did not engage them in any conversation.
Because I don't remember seeing much conversation when the iconic footage that we see the two of you standing there. You're holding the weapon, you're pointing the weapon, and they're yelling.
They're yelling.
So what are they yelling?
They're everything, cunt, bitch, death, fire, all this kind of stuff. There were, to their credit, there were a couple of handlers that were telling the crowd in general, keep moving, go down this, keep going. And there was then the hardcore group that
so
wanted,
some were moving on,
yeah,
but some were taunting you.
Yes.
And those are the ones you thought were the hardcore ones that were going to come in the house and destroy everything.
Yeah, absolutely. There was some very serious looking people that were there.
Did they have weapons?
They did have weapons. They were wearing body armor.
Did they display the weapons?
I never saw a weapon displayed to me. The only thing I saw was one guy was wearing a sidearm. Another guy had pulled two loaded magazines out of the pockets.
Now tell me about these. There are two of these guys in body armor, right?
Yeah, standing directly in front of me, and for the obvious purpose of being intimidating.
And how far away, roughly?
They were close enough that when one guy pulled the magazines out of the pockets of his body armor and showed them to me, he did so specifically so that I could see that they were loaded and I could see that they're loaded. I could see.
And what kind of magazines were
They were looked like they were, for me, they looked like they were Sig Sauer double stack magazines with 9mm in them.
And he said,
So you were close enough.
But I could see
And
that kind
do
of detail.
you have good eyesight?
No.
well, you were wearing your glasses.
I was wearing my glasses.
Put them on.
Yeah. And what did he say?
And with those glasses on, what are you, 20/20?
Yeah, I can see real well with the glasses on.
So you had the glasses on,
Mhm.
and you were able to see roughly what kind of a magazine it was.
Yeah.
Serious ammunition, right?
And he clicks them together like that and says, "You're next." And it's very clear what
And
he
this
meant
guy,
by
how
that.
was this guy dressed up?
He was wearing on camo body armor. I can't remember as I sit here right now if he had his face covered or not. I don't think so. I believe
Was he
was
white or
an
black?
African American gentleman. I think the one to his right was wearing light colored body armor. Said one time he turned his back to me, it said human shield across the back of it. He was a fellow that was armed.
Could you tell
He had
what his
he
race
had
was?
mask up to here and then
So you had no idea if he was
head covering here.
white, black, or something else?
Nothing, no way I'm telling. But he was very intimidating. He was purposely being intimidated and kept inching
But he
towards us.
said nothing.
He said nothing.
The other guy is the one who basically said the magazines were for you.
Yes, exactly.
Did you at that time figure it was over? This was it. This was the execution stage of the riot.
That was, although the crowd was now dissipating and the numbers were smaller, but that was the most serious. That was the time
Yeah,
when I
well,
thought
I mean
we were
that's
in
when the hit would be done. Probably
most serious risk
fewer
of death.
people around, fewer witnesses.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I know a lot about hits.
yeah. Well, that's when I thought that the
Yeah,
fireworks
that's when I would have thought
start.
it would happen when
Yeah.
when the hardcore people are around who aren't going to testify.
And most of the cameras are already gone.
And then what happened?
Eventually, the last of the stragglers went away.
When did the two body armor guys go?
They were the last, I think. I think they were the last
What, did
guys.
they just
to
turn
go.
around and walk away?
They
were-
eventually.
very angry about
Yeah.
walking away, but
Yeah,
they did.
they eventually.
Did somebody urge them to walk away?
No.
I don't
Nobody
think so.
to urge
I think
them.
they were.
But apparently they were abandoned, I guess, at some
Yeah,
point.
they probably felt a little alone at that point because they were now standing out there by themselves. So eventually the crowd just moved on. And then they went down the street towards, and all this we learned later. The
But
guard.
when they left, obviously tremendous relief.
Oh yeah,
Did you go right inside?
we went back inside and we were still upset, obviously.
Upset.
Just put it mildly, and we never actually ate anything. And the first thing,
Were you worried they might come back?
Oh, yeah.
For a while.
and
yeah.
because these things don't end. I mean, here,
But maybe were you worried they would come back that night?
yes,
So now I assume we're talking about 7:30 at night.
it's about 7:30 by the time it's all over. The metadata on my cell phone for the photos I took of the gate say 7:42. So it had calmed down enough that I felt comfortable to walk out.
So
and
after it
photograph
was
the
over,
gate.
you went to look at the gate.
Yeah.
And
See
what
how
did,
they-
and you took some pictures.
Took some pictures
We'll
of them.
show.
Yeah.
And what did it indicate to you? That
Well,
what you saw.
yeah, that they had folded the gate down
So
to the
this
ground.
notion that goes around that the gate was partially open, kind of inviting them to come into private property.
Pure nonsense.
But of course, now let's talk as lawyers. Even if it was open, the signs all say private property. It's still the crime of trespass,
Absolutely.
which is, I assume, is a crime in this state.
It is.
Since it's been a crime for 1,000 years.
And I'm not an expert in criminal law, but my vague recollection of the trespass statute says that where the community is posted and gated, that it's a Class A trespass. It's,
Well, trespass is the original crime from which all the writs emerged.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
But I'm,
Yeah.
I am a criminal lawyer,
Yeah.
and love English law, and the writ of trespass was the first writ the king issued.
Yeah.
And from that, all the other criminal laws emerged. One of the most serious crimes you could commit in England, because your property, your home is your castle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, what you have in this state is a castle doctrine, which I'm sure you knew.
Oh yeah.
So,
But quite frankly, Mr. Mayor, that at the point when that crowd came through the gate, legalities were the last thing in our minds. Just survival.
it was
Survival
living.
was the only thing.
Yeah, sure. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
I couldn't believe we were evicted from our home that we didn't even sell. Those are the words of a homeowner, Deborah, when she learned she was the victim of home title fraud. It's a devastating crime that can cost you your home. And title fraud is not covered by insurance or common identity theft services. The only folks to trust that I know of to protect your home's title is Home Title Lock. Cyber thieves have discovered the titles to our homes are kept online. They forge your name on your deed stating you sold your home, and they refile as the new owner. In Deborah's case, she didn't even know she was a victim until the eviction notice arrived in her mail. Home Title Lock protects you and your home by putting a virtual barrier around your home's title. The instant they detect tampering, they mobilize to shut it down. Go online to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim and don't know it. Then use code RUDY, that's me, and sign up for 30 free days of protection. That's code RUDY at HometitleLock.com. Thank you very much for joining us. So now they're gone. The police ever arrive?
They did eventually, and at some time, and I can't tell you how long, but it seemed like a couple hours later, some detectives showed up to take a statement from us. And
2 hours later.
yeah, I think so. It was.
You would have been, I mean, assuming what the worst you assumed, you'd have been dead quite some time by
Oh yeah,
the time you got-
I would already have assumed room temperature by then.
Yeah.
But our office is 3 blocks away, and it's an 1880s Victorian house, and I wanted to go and board it up, right?
Yes.
And so,
Well, they had said at the end, they said that we're taking a picture of your license plate, so we're going to find you and excuse me.
Yeah, say it.
Fuck you up in your business everywhere you go.
you
So
got a
we're
business,
going-
it's gone.
It's
they
gone.
said.
We're
And
gonna.
so, we advertise. It's not hard to find our office,
Of course.
So-
and so I wanted to get there toot sweet and get the office boarded up.
And did you go?
Yeah, I did. So I left. I met a boarding up company there. They had about a half-hour lead time, and they met me over there. And then the police came back, I guess, when I was boarding up the building, and took another statement from Patty.
And an embedded police officer then came back. I was afraid to go to the door. I mean, I think I
An
opened
embedded
it.
police officer means
was in
one
the
that was in the crowd.
In the crowd,
As
yeah.
an undercover.
Who said, I saw the whole thing. I got your back on this. You didn't do anything wrong. Don't worry about it. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but he said, here's my card, and if you want to just talk about it, because he could see I was really upset, and I didn't even want to open the door, anyway. And he wanted to just call and talk, you can just call and talk about it.
And I assume that night was hell,
Oh God, yeah.
and the next couple of days.
We didn't
go to
sleep.
For sure.
We never-
And for your daughter?
No, we did not go to
She left.
sleep.
She left.
Yeah, she
right
left
away.
right away.
She
Frightened out of her mind.
Yeah.
She took the dog to the kennel. We had all our cars moved. Other people came in, took them away.
Well, sure. You
Yeah,
but you had no idea
everything.
what was going to happen.
No, we
But
didn't.
then, just so we get the whole picture, there was a second incident,
There's a second incident.
and you got warned of the second incident.
We had a client that was part of the
But
expected.
and you
sentencing.
assumed there'd be a second incident, didn't you?
No.
Or
We did not. I guess we were naive. We didn't realize how vindictive the mob
you know
was
what
going
we
to be.
left
did
out?
board up the
When it
building.
first started, a man came through the door who had your name.
Knew my name.
And how did you describe him?
I call him Andy Warhol.
But if you see him, he's actually well dressed.
He's Caucasian gentleman with white hair, a young guy wearing a suit.
And what did he say?
He was standing right out in front of the porch by the time I was out on the front porch, and he kept saying things like, "Mark, why can't we just talk about this? Mark, why can't we just work this out?" He was one of the first guys.
So we had the good guy, the good cop, bad cop routine.
Yeah, but he knew my name. Okay,
Which of course is
knew my
from the
first name.
very beginning.
Yeah.
Made it even more frightening that you were being targeted. And the rest of that night, no other house was attacked in this way at all.
At all. And in retrospect, when we went back and we looked at the flyer that Expect Us put out about the planning of this riot, it specifically said, after talking about, we're going to be loud, we're going to make the Central West End wake up, they think this is a game. And the next line said, and we've got a surprise.
And would there be any reason they would single you out? Is there any reason you can think of that they would single you out?
Well, we used to have a big sign on the gate that said Bush for president in the old days when
Okay.
it was right.
That
We used
20 years ago.
That wasn't as incendiary.
We were
No,
probably
the house is big.
The house
is
is-
big. and
All
in
the
your
houses
face.
here are big.
and we're kind of known as being the only good hardcore Republicans in the
God, I mean,
neighborhood.
driving here, I saw a Black Lives Matter in somebody's window.
They
Is that there for protection or is that real?
it's lamb's blood on the door. Those all went up the day after the 28th.
Seriously.
Yeah. They just think that if they'll get passed over if they have a Black Lives Matter sign in the window.
But you were definitely targeted. I mean, it was Mark, the only house they hit, and that was it.
I think so. I believe
So
that.
now a couple of days later,
Couple
you
days
get a
later-
call from a former
from a current client of ours.
current client.
We represented many members of her family and nice people, nice family.
A happy client.
Happy
that
client.
you won a
We
great victory
Got
for.
a good verdict
Because I
for.
know as a lawyer, you have happy ones and not so happy
Yeah,
ones.
and we'd done other cases since then. We had a motor vehicle collision for her since then. She was very, very nice family, but she was incensed about what had happened.
I had gone to
Is she
her.
white?
Oh, no, she's black. But
Black, okay.
I'd gone to her graduation from college. Then she got another degree. I went to that graduation. I went to her sister's graduation. She was married to a police officer that committed suicide. I went to that funeral. I went to things with them all the time.
And who did she call? Mark or Patty?
She called me. She called me.
And what did she say, Patty?
And she was upset and screaming at me and saying, I can't.
This is about Tuesday after the Monday?
Tuesday, saying, I'm so upset with you. They are coming to kill you and burn the house down, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm so upset with you.
And what was she upset about?
I said, but you know that we're not racist. Or we're none of these things that they say we are. And she said, well, I know that, but I can't get them to understand that. They're targeting you, and.
But what was it that you did? You mean by displaying the guns to protect yourself?
That's all we did.
That's all we did. So, and so she said, there's nothing I can do to help you. And just yelled at me for an hour and a half that I love you. I don't want you to see you die. I don't want to see this happen to you. But it's going to happen. And she said, maybe if I could get a bunch of girls together, we could come sit out in front of your house because it's going to be Friday, and we could give out waters. Open the gate for them. And
Give them water?
Give them water. Just
Open the gate for them and give them water?
Yes, and give them water when they come back in next time. And
when they come back to murder you, the weapon is going to be water.
She said, no, I don't think that's going to work, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Better be
she said.
some kind of magic water.
Yeah.
So
Lord.
She sort of thought maybe she could protect us and say, no, these people are decent people. They're not like that.
But she didn't.
But she didn't. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. So now you went searching for.
Now we started searching
enhanced
for
security.
Private
and
security.
had real difficulty getting anyone to help you.
Absolutely. We got
local police.
Local police wouldn't do it. I called 911, and 911, answers. 911 operators.
Had they responded yet to the first call? Oh yeah, they had. I'm sorry. I don't want to be sarcastic.
But
they had already responded to
to the first call.
That took only 2 hours.
Yeah, but now for about 20 minutes, the 911 operator is recording saying 911 operators are busy. Don't hang up. 911 operators are busy.
Did they offer at least a social worker or a
guidance counselor?
Yeah,
No.
No.
But and then finally a dispatcher came on, and I said I need to talk to the area commander to see whether or not we're going to get any enhanced security here. Eventually I got a policeman on the phone, and she said, would you like to talk to my lieutenant? I said, well, yeah, that's what I've been doing here. And so eventually I was able to leave my name and number with the lieutenant's voicemail. No one ever called me back. So then I started trying to call secondary employment cops. None of the local cops wanted to get involved. They didn't want the bad press. So we went one level up to people that provide international corporate security, an entity locally here. And they'd gotten some bad press during the Ferguson incident. They didn't want to get involved in it. So they referred me back to secondary employment, local police, all right, go full circle. And finally, now it's like Wednesday afternoon.
And Friday's D-Day.
Friday's D-Day.
Friday, as far as you were told, they're coming to kill you.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
And they put out a flyer too,
Put out a
confirming
flyer
that they're
saying
coming.
we ain't done yet. They're going to meet.
And they had an indication of where to meet and what time.
2 blocks.
2 blocks away, and where to meet, what time, and we ain't done yet.
This would be a time to take a short break. How bad is it? Your back, knee, or neck pain? My knee pain was awful. I probably tried the same things you're trying to manage your pain. Topical ointments, pain relievers, fish oil, but nothing worked. Then I tried Omega XL. And here's why. The underlying cause of painful, achy joints and muscles is inflammation. The key is to knock down inflammation before it causes permanent damage. Backed by 35 years of research, that's exactly what Omega XL does. Nothing comes close to doing what Omega XL does. There's nothing like it. If you're suffering with painful, achy joints and muscles, stop wasting money and switch to Omega XL. Order Omega XL now and get a second bottle free. Visit omegaxl.com/Rudy. That's omegaxl.com/Rudy, or call 1-800-844-4888. 800-844-4888. Thank you very much for coming back, and we'll continue our interview with the McCloskeys.
And so I had gotten a call early in the week from...
Actually, there was nothing left to do but to kill you.
That's
right. They had already done all the yelling, all the screaming, all the threatening. You know, there was the only thing they failed to do was to kill you and take your house.
Yeah. And so I'd gotten a call earlier in the week from the White House saying that the president wanted to let us know that he supported us, and if the's anything they could do, let me know. It was wonderful.
But isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Here you are. I mean, we're supposed to be protected by local law enforcement under our Constitution. We have a tiny little federal police force called the FBI, 14,000. We have 800,000 local policemen. Mm-hmm. And the President of the United States has to call you to offer you protection.
Of all people, was the only one that called.
No, not a policeman, not a police chief, not a mayor.
Yeah.
Certainly not the crooked DA.
No. And so I called back.
Well, what about the Republican?
We got a Republican governor.
Republican did he call?
He did not. And
however, is he really a Republican governor? Well, I guess I shouldn't ask that.
No, he is.
Is he really a Republican?
Yeah, he's a good guy. And he was a sheriff, so he comes from law enforcement.
Well, how come he didn't call?
I don't know. I suspect maybe he was. I don't know. I can't
Scared?
speculate. We've got a very good Republican junior senator in the state who's been very active, and he's been very supportive.
Good.
And the Attorney General of the state of Missouri, Eric Schmidt, he's been very supportive.
Eric Schmidt is a gem.
Yeah. So we've got everybody above the city level was very good. But
the president actually called you.
Well, president did not actually call. He had somebody else
Mark
call.
Meadow.
No, it was a guy who was in charge of the Office of Personnel for the White House called. But then when I call him back and I say, after we'd run out of options, I said, you said that if I ever needed any help, I could call on you. Well, now I've got to call on you. So he gave me Mark Meadows' cell phone number, and we got a hold of Mark Meadows. And I don't know what happened after that.
And you told them that you told them your predicament.
Yeah, told them the predicament.
Police are not going to help you. Local police are not going to help you. Private security is kind of flaking out on you.
That ceased to exist.
They're scared out of their minds.
And we've been promised death and destruction.
And they said, just take the highest level security company told us, just take things that are important to you, like your photos, and leave.
Abandon the house and leave. And I just said, I'm
not
going to
give up your life's
away.
work.
Yeah. And
right?
so
your creation.
Yeah. And so the second call I made after Mark Meadows was I called Tucker Carlson. And Patty's sitting, we're in the kitchen, and I'm telling this story. And I said, look, to
Tucker?
Yeah. And I said, we have no other options now. And he went on the air that night and said that,
it's amazing. You have to call. I mean, I love Tucker. I mean, nothing wrong with calling him. It's amazing that you have to call a talk show host to get protection.
Yeah. Well,
from death.
This is.
Where are we living?
I said it from my first public interview on this matter till today. It's a bizarro, upside down world when I can't count on my local government, but the people that came to support us the most, the White House and Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson put out a call to arms in effect in his show that night and said, he was talking to me and Patty's in the background sobbing. And then I found secondary employment cops. We got Navy SEALs. We got support from all over the place. When that Friday night happened, we had FBI airplanes circling the house. We had Navy SEALs on the balconies. We had 10 secondary employment.
This must have quieted them down a little.
Oh, it didn't quiet them down, but it kept them away.
It stopped them from doing anything.
And to their credit, the city of St. Louis cops stood up like champs that night. The chief himself, Hayden, came out in front of our house with the lieutenant that's in charge of crowd control, met with our security.
Gee, the White House could really accomplish a lot.
And I think maybe Colonel Alan West had something to do with it.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Alan, wonderful.
Yeah. But then the chief stayed here literally all night.
Now, how long did the second one take?
Oh, I think the all clear happened about 4 a.m.
And it started about
7 o'clock at night.
And it was led by
Corey Bush.
She was then a candidate.
She was then a candidate.
Now an elected, or basically elected new member of the United States
House of Representatives.
Congress.
Yeah, go figure, right?
And she is with this group of about 1,000 people, would you say?
Yeah, I think that we did not. When we were down in Dallas recently, one of the SEALs that was one of the guards up here said the FBI told him they estimated the crowd at between 500 and 1,000.
And that's from the air, from the
I'm very familiar with how you do that. Did it a lot in New York City because New York City has its own Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
We have our own planes and we have our own helicopters, and I can assure you, if I were mayor, you wouldn't have to have called the White House.
Yeah.
I never had anybody have to call Bill Clinton to save it. Thank God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because I can't conceive of the fact that even under Bill Clinton this could happen.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, something has happened that is insidious and sick within the Democratic Party.
Well, I remember the day Bill
Really
Clinton got
sick.
elected, and I couldn't imagine anybody
And
that
homicidal.
left would ever be president of the United States. We longed for the days when we had somebody as conservative as Bill Clinton running for president.
Yeah, I mean, and well, never mind. So now, now they're out front, and what is this just about to be elected new member of Congress saying?
She's on her bull.
This is not Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
No,
I take. No.
this is Cori Bush on a megaphone.
This is Cori Bush
Yeah,
goes to overthrow Washington.
absolutely. Goes to overthrow Western civilization.
And what is she? That's what she's yelling, isn't it?
She's yelling, "You can't stop the revolution." She's chanting,
What
"You
revolution?
can't stop the revolution. You can't stop the revolution," like that, and the crowd's just going berserk.
And they're screaming, "Burn the!"
When they were marching up Kings Highway, it's burn the motherfucker down. I mean, this is not
This is now again Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and her own organization. And her own organization, let's emphasize now, her own organization is in favor of using violent means.
Oh, yeah.
not in favor of. They expressly state that they
Okay.
that they must.
They expressly state they are so.
This. Let me digress. We didn't talk about this earlier. We're sitting across from the largest municipal park in the country. It's bigger than New York Central Park. The very highest point on it is the Art Museum. Standing out in front of the Art Museum is a.
Did you just tell me there's a park bigger than Central Park?
Oh yeah,
You just destroyed me.
You drove by it on the way to dinner last night for about 2.5 miles.
I know it's a long drive, but it can't be bigger than Central. It's nothing bigger than.
Right out in front of the Art Museum, on the highest point in the city, is a statue larger than life of Louis IX, St. Louis, on horseback, holding the sword by the blade, holding it in a piece.
Have they tried to take that down?
Well, they did, and they were trying to take it down.
Do they even know who it is?
Oh no, they have no idea. Except that he was a white guy and he's a racist. But there is a guy with a pseudo-Arab name, although he was not Arab, who was leading the protest against St. Louis up there. And every Saturday evening, some Catholics.
No, we're talking about St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis.
The Saint.
The Saint, Louis IX. Every Saturday night, a group of Catholics go there and they pray for St. Louis.
Well, this is completely inconsistent with Black Lives Matter, Antifa, the Marxists. Opioid of the people.
Yeah, this is June 27th. This is the day before our first event. This group of revolutionaries go up there and they attack the Catholics that were praying, beat them. This is the day before? Day before our event.
Which of course adds to your fear that they're going to kill you, beat you, do the same. Why not do the same thing to you?
The leader, the guy who started beating up the Catholics up there, goes on television, admits he did it, said they deserved it because they were white and he would do it again. He got charged with a misdemeanor. And
by the crooked, we're going to get to in a moment, by the crooked county attorney, city attorney?
Circuit attorney is what we call it here.
Yeah, the one bought and paid for by George Soros.
Yes, Kim Gardner.
Kim Gardner. Right.
And of course, he's out and will never face prosecution. And
he's out.
Oh yeah, he just charged with a misdemeanor. I assume he probably got a ticket in the mail, right? But
well, Catholics, I guess, are expendable.
Yeah, a person expressing their faith.
And of course, you're Catholic also. Mm-hmm. So a bunch of Catholics get beaten up the night before, and now they're in front of your house wanting to kill you.
Threatening us, yeah.
So this has to have been, by far and without any doubt, the most frightening experience of your life.
Oh, God, yes.
Okay. When do you find out that you're actually going to be the subject of a criminal investigation for defending your life and your house?
I think it was about July the 8th that Kim Gardner announced that she was going to charge us.
Were you shocked out of your minds. I was.
I mean, we were told by the investigating officers that we had nothing to worry about, that we had done nothing.
I knew who she was because of the fact that I've done a lot of investigating the SOROS conspiracy to put insane DAs, pro-criminal, anti-police, anti-American DAs in many, many offices in the country where they are wreaking havoc and creating crime.
Yeah.
And I knew she was one of the primary ones and one of his favorites.
And I take the date back because they executed the search warrant on July the 8th, so we must
Well,
have
wait,
we're going to get
they
charged.
executed a search warrant here.
Yes. On July the 8th, we'd gone out for dinner and come back in, and I was upstairs watching the news.
They executed a search warrant here.
Yeah. The police show up out front. Patty comes up to get me and says,
Did the police apologize for doing it?
"Oh,
They,
yeah."
they were very.
Did they say,
They were really.
this is
nice.
probably the
They
most
were really-
unprofessional thing we've ever did?
Well,
You know, I actually think they should be
felt bad.
prosecuted
You know
for
what they
breaking
said?
the law.
They said, "Well, I don't want to get."
You
them in
remember,
trouble."
it's not quite the same thing, but we have the Nazi prison guard situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've been a law enforcement person all my life, and I'm not going to follow an illegal order,
Yeah.
even if, and I didn't. I've had situations in my life where I was ordered to do things that I didn't do
Yeah.
because I make my own judgment
Well,
about whether I'm breaking the law. I mean, searching your house.
Well, they never
they
actually
didn't-
did.
What they did was we had set off the alarm by
Did some
mistake
judge,
when we first
did some
came
judge
home.
sign
Yes.
this?
Oh, yeah.
We have this judge's name?
Oh, yeah.
It's time for him to
remember which.
resign.
Yeah.
Well, here was a scenario. We had gotten home. We were still discombobulated. I mean, we were not thinking right because we were just tired and hadn't been to sleep since the 27th. But I went upstairs. We had accidentally set off the burglar alarm when we got home, and so we turned it off. And then what happens is if we don't call the alarm company instantly, they send the cops
Yeah,
over.
right.
So the cops show up at the door. Patty thinks it's a result of the false alarm in our burglar.
And they have
alarm.
a warrant.
They said, "Sorry about this. That's not what it's about." And believe me, we'd rather be anywhere else, but here.
Here's a search warrant.
But-
And what do they do?
They
Actually,
say,
they said, "Well, take your time. You can call your lawyer. You can, take your time. We'll just stay here, and we just need the guns." But they didn't actually.
They never
search
came in the house. They're
didn't come
nice.
in.
They said I'd already given my lawyer the pistol, and so
The pistol meaning the one that didn't work,
the one that didn't work.
who your lawyer knew didn't work.
Yes,
Right, right.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And so I did a short video, which has been turned over to the cops.
And they were nice too, because I said, "Oh, can I run in and get my camera, because I want to take a picture of this happening so people can see what we're going through."
But they didn't go
did not
through your
search.
house and
They
rip
didn't go
apart
through.
things.
I passed them the
Okay,
AR.
all right.
I unloaded
And
the
then they
AR.
said,
So they obviously realized this was a totally illicit, illegal.
They said that they would want to be anywhere but doing
Yeah,
what
of
they
course,
were doing.
because
They said, "We're
they're
really sorry." And so
obviously
I said, "I'm going to take a picture, but can you turn around?
But
That way, when I take a picture,
You know, it's
nobody will
tough
be mad
working
at
for a
you."
crooked person.
Yeah, we didn't
No,
want
no,
them
we
to
didn't
get.
want them
We didn't
to-
want them to get in trouble by having their faces seen on television executing
Yeah,
a
but
warrant.
I mean,
on us.
the actual thing they should have done is to, turn them into the U.S. Attorney's office. They should have walked over to the U.S. Attorney's office.
takes a
And they should,
Yeah.
it takes a person who has integrity. That's all
Well,
it takes.
and
It takes a person who's an American.
I really
It
don't
takes a
want to.
person who has enough courage to get on the lawn
Yeah.
with a gun.
Well, I got to
So
tell you,
they should really
It gets.
But I really would like to talk to them because I think they should resign because they don't have the courage to be police officers.
Well, this one guy who executed the probable cause statement
Yeah.
was really doing everything he could while keeping his job. To be honest, there was a back and forth debate between
Yeah,
this
a
is
lot of Nazi prison guards did the same thing. too.
all public record now between the
this is a
assistant
useless-
circuit attorney trying to fake the
Excuse
evidence.
me, but this is a useless human being.
Yeah.
We don't need him.
All right.
Not if we have to protect people's lives. We don't need somebody like this. Go find another job. Take care of a mall somewhere. Don't be a law enforcement officer.
Well,
A law enforcement officer being given an illegal, unconstitutional warrant should go directly to the United States Attorney's Office and say, "My boss is violating the Constitution of the United States," which is what your Attorney General did.
yeah, yeah,
So now you're threatened with prosecution.
yeah.
Now tell us the law. I already have interviewed the Attorney General, who's explained the law in great detail about the Castle Doctrine, hold your ground. You had every right to do what you were doing under Missouri law.
So we end up getting charged with a felony, Class E felony, technically brandishing, which means that we were displaying and I can't quote the statute to you directly, but it's essentially that we're displaying in an aggressive or angry manner a weapon readily capable of lethal use. And
well, you were, but she wasn't.
I was. And I searched the videos. I don't think I was doing anything aggressive
but I mean,
or angry.
in her,
I had a weapon that was readily capable
but now
of lethal use.
tell me what has happened to your weapon that couldn't be used.
Well,
do you know what's happened to it?
Only what's been reported. Here's the scenario.
Well, the Attorney General told me that it was reconfigured.
Exactly.
It was
to make it look like it can fire. So we got somebody that's got to go to jail for obstruction of justice.
Here's what happened. The Assistant Circuit Attorney.
I assume if we're in America, we are in America.
If we still are.
Okay.
We'll find out November 3rd. The Assistant Circuit Attorney is named Chris Hinckley. Chris Hinckley instructed the crime lab to disassemble the pistol, make it work, reassemble it, because one of the necessary elements of the offense is a weapon readily
So he's
capable.
an operative of Gardner.
Yeah, exactly.
So now let's explain how Gardner got elected. Gardner was elected based on massive contributions from George Soros. George Soros has no connection to St. Louis, does he?
No, I don't think so.
Like he had no connection to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Or to Chicago.
Yeah.
Or to Contra Costa, California. Or to the 27 other places that he's elected district attorneys who do things like don't prosecute property crimes, don't prosecute murder cases. Since she's been in office, I've been informed that she has turned down 60% of the cases presented to her.
Well, just for example, on the riots in St. Louis that started after the George Floyd death, I think there were 250 or so looters and rioters that were arrested. She released them all.
So that's basically saying go riot again.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like we don't want to interrupt your rioting.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well make a speech and say, please continue your rioting.
How many of those people that were in front of my house had been arrested 26 days earlier?
Whatever. They were all empowered by a illegal, dishonest, corrupt district attorney. So she gets elected, paid for by George Soros. Virtually at the same time, George Soros is funding Black Lives Matter and funding district attorneys in other places where similar kinds of riots have taken place and similar kinds of releases have taken place of rioters, namely Chicago, where Kim Foxx was supported by Soros. And the police in Chicago, you might have seen 3 weeks ago, had a big protest because she released every single rioter in Chicago.
Yeah.
Do you see a pattern here?
No, I don't see any pattern.
This is the pattern.
Yeah.
And I'll also note that most of the riots, if not all of them, have taken place in Democratic cities, and almost all of them with district attorneys that they have in their pocket.
Yeah.
This is corrupt as hell.
Yeah.
And you are the victims of it.
You know, in Kim Gardner's campaign literature, at least in this election cycle, she doesn't talk about enforcing the law against criminals. She talks about changing the power structure.
Well, she doesn't.
Yeah.
She doesn't enforce the law. She doesn't take 60% of the cases. She prosecutes only 20% of the remaining ones. Her record of you wouldn't hire her in a second to be an assistant lawyer. She can't win a case. I don't know if she even goes to court. She is involved in a major investigation for attempting to frame the former governor. Her investigator is under indictment. It looks as if she completely created a case to get out of office a too right-wing governor who, by the way, backed off Black Lives Matter, the Soros-sponsored organization, to help her sponsor Soros. She indicted your governor on what appears to be now clearly a phony charge. And the agent that she used is under indictment, who is probably on the verge of flipping, hopefully. And you must feel like this is Kafka.
Yeah. It is
not America.
No, it's not America. And, you know, we have such a terror about what's going to happen if things don't go our way on
I mean, if
November
Biden gets
3rd.
elected.
Yeah.
Because
then Biden has sat back and said nothing about this for 90 days. Now he's made tepid remarks where he says that violence is wrong, but he doesn't condemn any of the rioters.
No, he just condemns the president. It's all Trump's fault.
And the rioters want to overturn our government.
Yeah. And Biden, even if he gets elected president,
he won't even know what's happening.
He won't know. He'll be president for 6 or 8 hours until Kamala Harris takes over, and then God help us all.
Well, she was one hell of a DA also.
Yeah.
I mean, she put in jail 1,500 marijuana smokers.
Well,
because her
smoking
number,
herself.
you know why she did it? Now, I know the prosecution business. She did it because her conviction rate was so bad, she had to get some quick convictions.
Yeah, you gotta
so she
keep-
got 1,500 convictions. Then she would take a murder case and she'd plead it down to, you know, slapping somebody's hand so she could get a conviction. I mean, the woman is just Gardner at a slightly higher level of corruption.
Yeah.
So you intend to fight this case, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
The Attorney General is making a motion to have it dismissed. Could the governor remove a attorney? In New York, a governor can supersede a district attorney.
That's at a pay grade higher than mine.
We're going to find out.
That's something for Eric Schmidt to decide.
Well, we're going to find out.
Although the problem is that in our state, based on our current constitution, the governor cannot pardon us before conviction. And that means that we can't take, you know, a diversion program that Kim Gardner is trying to suggest so she doesn't have to prosecute us. We can't plead guilty. We can't get an SIS because anything other than an actual conviction, the governor can't pardon us. We've got to go through the entire process.
Well, you know, this has been the worst experience of your life, but in many ways it puts you in a very special position because you are, for us, defenders of our Constitution. You're defending some of our most important rights, our right to defend ourselves. And people died for this. People died to make it possible. People died to preserve it. And you're going through a terrible thing, but you have raised this issue to a national, international level with the courage and the dignity with which you've handled yourself. So I have to tell you, you need any help, you got an army of volunteers ready to help you. You're not going to have to worry about paying for lawyers, or I know any number of lawyers that would volunteer and do this just as an American citizen.
You know what I've been saying from the get-go on this? The right of self-defense is not a right that the government gives you. They're a God-given right to defend
Well, they don't
yourself and
believe
your
in God,
family.
Mark.
And
I know it's a God-given right, and they have no right to interfere with it. And you've done more in this short period of time than anyone in recent memory to defend it, and to make it important, and to get the American people to see how important it is, and to expose a really horrible crime that's been going on for some time with George Soros and what he's been doing to our district attorney's offices as part of an effort to overthrow our government. This is much bigger than you or me.
yeah, what a nefarious plan.
Yeah, and it is critical. I'm sorry to say this. It's critical that Donald Trump get reelected, or we are headed for socialism and fascism. We're headed for what George Soros has been dreaming for us in his sick mind. And I just want you to know you have millions of supporters that are willing to do anything to help you and join you in vindicating our rights. Thank you, Mark.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I have so much admiration for you, I can't tell you.
Appreciate it.
I think you'll find that one of the most important interviews that at least I've ever been involved in about rights that are really at stake. No one is exaggerating this. Our right to our way of life is at stake, and these people are on the front lines. And thank you very much for listening.